Welcome to this lecture on voltage sag by Professor Tanuja Indate from Electrical Engineering Department, KK Wag Institute of Engineering Education and Research, Nasik. This is the course structure for the elective power quality in the 7th semester of final year Electrical Engineering graduation course. These are the course objectives prescribed by the university syllabus. Today we are talking about defining the voltage sag, classifying RMS voltage variations, analyze the effects of voltage sag, evaluate critical distance and area of vulnerability. Now this is the chart which talks about RMS voltage variations which are given by IEEE standard 1159 from recommended practice for monitoring electrical power supply, power quality standard. Now if we see on x-axis it's a time scale and on y-axis it is giving magnitude of available voltage. Now as we all are aware, voltage sag, when we define, it is the available voltage to the customer, and so the voltage sag, various RMS voltage variations are shown in this chart. If we see carefully, voltage sag is defined as the available voltage in the range of 90% to 10% for the time period of 0.5 cycle to 1 minute. So it is surely a short duration RMS voltage variation where voltage sag is most occurring power quality problem, and so we are focusing mainly on voltage sag. Other parameters like voltage swell, available voltage would be larger than 110% of the nominal operating voltage, again for the same duration 0.5 cycle to 1 minute, whereas over voltage and under voltage are taken as long duration RMS voltage variations where the voltage would be either less than 90% up to 10% for under voltage or more than 110% of the nominal value for over voltage. Now we will not be focusing on other parameters in this chart but mainly on voltage sag. Now when we talk of voltage sag, the principal cause of voltage sag is a short duration increase in the current which is flowing, which could be because of various reasons, and they are categorized into two types. So it could be internal sag or it could be external sag. If it is internal sag, it is caused by switching on of equipment connected to local system where it is expected to carry higher current and so suddenly voltage drops in the form of voltage sag for short duration. External sags are caused by external problems in the utility networks, which could be caused by either switching on of large loads in the system or it could be because of system faults. Out of this system faults, the fault current flows through the faulty feeder until the dedicated protection can operate, resulting into faults. Faults could be on distribution system, user distribution system failure, and it could be causing user equipment malfunction. These are various classifications for voltage sag sources. So as we said, it could be line fault in transmission system, it could be line fault in distribution system, voltage sags due to transformer. In transformer, it could be transformer energizing or it could be transformer short circuit as a fault, or it could be a reactor starting. So reactor starting is also similar to transformer energizing. Voltage sags due to induction motor, which are largely used in industry, and so either large motor starting or motor faults, both can cause voltage sags. Voltage sag due to capacitor switching, shunt capacitor switching using general purpose breaker not having soft closing devices. This leads to voltage sag, and these are various voltage sag sources. Voltage sag on transmission network due to system fault influences large range of customer loads naturally, because in transmission network this voltage sag would be propagated to rest of the loads which are connected at the customer loads. whereas distribution system faults have influence only on the local system, and so they will not have their influence seen on the upper side or higher voltage side towards transmission network. Causes of electrical faults in overhead lines, this is just for review, that breakdown of insulation by over voltage, it could be overhead line flashover due to pollution of insulator, it could be mechanical failure or accidental contact with the conductor, failure of equipment like transformer, circuit breaker, surge arresters, bus bars and so on. There are various causes because of which electrical faults take place in overhead lines and which eventually lead to voltage sags which are seen by various customers. So this is just a background of voltage sag which we have already studied. Now if we see the voltage divider model where we represent the generation voltage as a supply system, Zs is the source impedance having E as the voltage available from the source, and then this is a voltage divider network which shows some supply going to load, whereas ZL is a representation of other feeder where the fault may take place. So ZL is, Z is the feeder impedance per unit length multiplied by length of the fault location from the PCC. We are aware that this location would be called as PCC, point of common coupling, and so length will be measured from point of common coupling to the location of fault. For calculation of voltage sag, we can use this expression as Z into L, where Z is the feeder impedance into distance L, divided by Zs, the source impedance, plus Z into L, where this is the total impedance up to PCC, which is from the fault location, multiplied by the input voltage, which is E. So voltage sag at this point can be calculated because of the fault taking place at this point, which will be seen by this load. So we are calculating it at the PCC. This voltage sag, again I am repeating, is by definition the available voltage which is seen by the load. So normally we expect that it should be 1 pu. When it drops, it would go to 0.9. 0.9 lower values we will start calling it as a voltage sag, provided this reduction of voltage is only for short duration, ranging up to maximum 1 minute, not more than that. If it is more than that, we would be calling it as under voltage. Now these are general comments like transmission related voltage sags normally are shorter duration than distribution voltage sags. These are the reasons, as the fault clearing mechanism is acting faster because of large amount of energy in the transmission faults. Okay, we are aware that transmission network would be clearing the faults at much faster rate. Total fault clearing time is 3 to 6 cycles for the older system, whereas new systems, they are clearing with the protection systems, they are clearing the fault in a cycle. The transmission system is looped or networked, we are aware of this, whereas distribution system is radial. These are two reasons because of which transmission related voltage sags are shorter in duration than the distribution voltage sags. This is a chart which talks about the magnitude, voltage sag magnitude is a function of distance. Now this is the distance, where distance of fault from point of common coupling, which we are talking about. If the fault is closer, that means the distance is less, then we can see here distance to the fault in kilometers and sag in magnitude. If we see distance, the fault is say 10, the available voltage would vary as compared, so this is lower value, as compared to when we increase the distance, the voltage level is improved. It means that if the fault is closer, the available voltage sag would be, available voltage would be lower, whereas as the fault location is going far away, the voltage level will improve, and so voltage sag magnitude will increase, but that means available voltage will be more. This chart indicates that. It is also showing the effect of the available MVA, 75 MVA, 200 MVA, 750 MVA as the available fault MVA of the system. Okay, and so if it is increasing, it is also having impact on available voltage. The magnitude of voltage sag depends on the location of fault with respect to feeder and customer. So this we have already seen. A close fault results in a very large dip in the voltage. It means large dip means available voltage is less, smaller magnitudes of voltage sag, and is usually cleared and results in short duration sag. So it is of few cycles. A close fault will result in large dip, but it gets cleared in shorter duration. Whereas faults at the end of the circuit result in less magnitude sag, but it is of longer duration. Okay, so this is the difference. The fault on feeder will cause voltage sag during the fault, followed by interruption when the breaker opens to clear the fault. But if the fault is temporary, a reclosing operation on breaker should be successful and interruption will only be temporary. So for temporary faults, the reclosing operation will only be recovering the voltage back to normal value. Majority of faults on utility lines are single line to ground faults, and so three-phase faults are more severe, no doubt, but they are less common. They are not so frequently occurring. Now there are two expressions which are given by Math J. Bolen, that voltage sag magnitude can be determined directly from the available fault levels at both PCC and the fault position. So SFLT is the fault level at the fault position, whereas SPCC is at the point of common coupling. So if fault levels at both these points is known for the rated voltage Vn, we can calculate SFLT as Vn square upon Zs plus Zf, whereas SPCC, which is the fault level at point of common coupling, can be calculated as Vn square upon Zs, and from this value we can calculate voltage sag as 1 minus SFLT. Now this is useful for calculating the voltage sag for predicting whether at a particular location the equipment, whether it will be seeing this as a voltage sag, the available voltage, or it can override this voltage. So sags are significantly damped when they propagate upward in the power system. We have already said that transmission line and distribution line, these are two different voltage levels which were available. In case the fault takes place at the distribution level, its impact on higher voltage side will be reduced. It will get damped. In the contrary, if it is on the transmission network, its impact will be seen even on the distribution line. Now this is one chart which is available just to have emphasis for what we are saying here, that we can see if the fault is at 400 volts, its impact at 11 kV is 90%. If we move further to 33 kV, the voltage is improving to 98%, further improved 99% and 100% at 400 kV. So we are moving towards higher voltage levels and the voltage is improving. Same is seen at all voltage levels. So fault may take place as at any level. Upward, when we are going upward from lower voltage to higher voltage side, its impact is seen on improvement in the available voltage. When we talk of critical distance, this is a particular terminology which is used. This is the relation for critical distance at which a fault will lead to voltage sag of certain magnitude, which will cause the equipment to trip or malfunction. Assuming equal X by R ratio of source and feeder given by, we can use these two expressions. L critical, which is the critical distance calculation, whereas voltage sag value can be calculated by having our usual formula Z into L upon Zs plus Z into L into E. So first we can calculate at a particular place how much is the possibility of voltage which will be available for the equipment if we connect it at that point. And then from this value, suppose we are getting this V sag value as 0.6 and our equipment sensitivity tells us that as per the tolerance limits, if the critical voltage for the equipment is such that it can sustain up to reduction of voltage up to say 0.8. Okay. Now if we put 0.8 in this, 0.8 divided by 1 minus 0.8, we can roughly calculate for same Zs by Z, we can get some distance as L critical. It clearly means that so much distance surrounding the equipment is taken as critical distance. Why? Because if the fault take place anywhere around that equipment in this much distance range, it is going to make V critical, which is for which the equipment is sensitive, and it may malfunction. So the area which is surrounding this equipment, which is taken as the area in which if fault takes place, the equipment will be affected. Clear? Naturally, this is clearly linked with the voltage which will be available at that point because of faults taking place around that area at various locations. If it falls in the critical distance range of that equipment, the equipment will be sensitive to it and it will surely malfunction. So each equipment as per its sensitivity will have different critical voltage values, which is critical only for that equipment, and so around that equipment the critical distance can be calculated. If the fault takes place within that range, the equipment will be affected. We have also seen nearer the fault location, smaller is the available voltage for the equipment because voltage sag would be severe. It would be giving less magnitude to the location. So if we consider all this, when we go away from the equipment, far away, then the possibility of fault which is taking place at a distant location affecting our equipment keeps on reducing. Okay, so critical distance is a condition or it is a concept where around the equipment it is the range which we call as critical distance. If the fault takes place within this region, the equipment will be affected. If it is out of this range, equipment would be safe. So we can also conclude that this region or the critical distance value, we can check if we keep on increasing nominal voltage, the critical distance value also keeps on increasing. This is the critical distance for faults at different voltage levels. To estimate the expected number of sags at certain load position, the critical distance has to be calculated for every possible PCC. So around this location, if we place the equipment at different PCCs, its critical distance value would keep on changing. All short circuit faults within this critical distance will cause equipment to trip. So critical distance increases very fast for increasing critical voltage. Increasing critical voltage, if we take values, I am making equipment more sensitive. I am saying that if the voltage deviates say from 0.9, 1 pu to 0.9, even this voltage my equipment would be sensitive to and it may malfunction. So more sensitive the equipment, the critical distance will be more around it. So the region in which fault take place, which will disturb our load, is increasing, and that is the impact or significance of calculation of critical distance. Now this also talks of area of vulnerability. Now this area of vulnerability describes all the fault location that can cause sensitive equipment to malfunction. So in this diagram, if we see, it is shown that if a equipment is particularly connected, suppose this is the load, and if we calculate the critical distance depending on where this load is connected, what is the kind of equipment, how much is the critical voltage for this particular equipment, accordingly we can calculate the critical distance, and which will decide the area of vulnerability for that equipment. So it will vary from equipment to equipment. For example, we have shown this as the area of vulnerability for the motor contactors, whereas this outer is the area of vulnerability for ASDs. Because their critical voltage levels for which they are sensitive would be different, and so the region in which if the fault take place, which will affect the equipment performance, will keep on varying. So this area surrounding the equipment is called as area of vulnerability. It is the area marked by fault calculation and evaluating equipment performance for each fault in which the voltage sag magnitude due to fault will result into maloperation of the sensitive equipment. So as we said, the voltage sags occurring in this region would be because of faults which are taking place elsewhere in the network, maybe very close to this location or somewhere else in the transmission network, and they will propagate to this location. So this area of vulnerability is sensitive to all the sags which would be produced because of various faults taking place in the network, because of which the available voltage to our load or equipment would be varying. If the available voltage becomes equal to or less than the critical voltage of each equipment, then that will be affected. It will go for malfunctioning. And so this possibility of sags which are being generated in this area are calculated because of different types of faults which are taking place in the region, which is likely to have effect on our sensitive equipment. Okay, so this area of vulnerability is calculated, is marked by using these calculations, fault calculations, and evaluating the equipment performance for various sag magnitudes. The voltage sag magnitude increases, that is, the sag becomes less severe. Voltage sag magnitude increases means available voltage increases for increasing distance to the fault and for increasing fault level. These are two parameters. So farther away from the fault location, we will have better or improved voltage which is available. We term it as higher voltage sag magnitude. So overhead lines of these are two factors. The other factor is overhead lines of different cross section have different impedance, and line and cable also have different impedance. It is thus to be expected that the cross section of the line or cable influences the sag magnitude as well. The smaller the cross section, the higher the impedance of the feeder, and thus lower the voltage drop. So in the transmission network, we know the available voltage, the voltage which is reaching, will be the result of input supply voltage and the drops which are taking place as the result of current and the impedance of the transmission network. And so this is talking about the impedances which are offered by overhead lines as well as the cables, lines and cables which are used. So this is additional comment. So if you have understood about concepts of area of vulnerability and the critical distance, we can see that in general we are talking of voltage sags because they are in percentage. It is the maximum percentage of power quality issues which are occurring because of voltage sag as the major event. And so we can see it influences various equipments, mainly because of either failure, tripping or malfunctioning, which affects the operational performance of the equipment. It may affect by reduction in efficiency due to increase in losses. And the third impact on equipment in general is reduced life of equipment because of heating and damage to insulation. These are the general points, because voltage sag may be having impact which is in this form. It could lead to failure or tripping. It may directly reduce the efficiency, and in long term the equipment life may be reduced. Now if we see, the voltage sag has impact on industrial plant high intensity discharge lighting, which is often most sensitive to voltage sag. It could lead to tripping of adjustable speed drives. PLCs used to control DC and AC drives shut down. Malfunction of personal computers. Microboard malfunctions. Starters and AC coil contactors drop instantaneously and relays may disengage. These are some of the effects which are shown on various electrical equipments, and this is a result of voltage sag. So with this, I am just giving you some reference material in the form of textbooks and reference books to refer, and we conclude this lecture here by stopping, and if you have, we can continue with this topic in the next lecture. Thank you.